Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Today, we are going to review episode 6 of WandaVision, all new Halloween Spooktacular. How you doing, Taylor?
Doing really well. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on, Sir Nerd a lot.
You're welcome. So initial thoughts. What did you think of the episode?
I thought the episode was really good. I enjoyed it. It just keeps giving you those surprises. So can't wait to dive right into this now.
Yeah, it's really great how like each episode, it's like something different that's really great about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. This one, especially different feel than prior from episode 5, but it definitely just had a nice little touch to it that I thought it was just perfect on the edges. Just great. I like the whole Halloween concept and the beginning of the when it starts with the rolling titles with the Malcolm in the Middle feel, especially
Yeah,
like
that was great.
oh man, I loved it.
Especially growing up, watching that show, as it was coming out, and immediately seeing that and be like, oh, that's Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean the camera and him just chasing everybody. Tommy chasing everybody down the camera and then doing like the Frankie Muniz thing. It was perfect. I thought that was great. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. I loved how they really carried it into the episode with was it Tommy or was it Billy? I don't even know.
No. I think it was Tommy because I think Tommy is the speed one, and then Billy is the as we find out that he ends up having the same powers as his mom, or or he has a little more of a psychic connection, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but how he was talking to the camera just like Malcolm did.
Yeah, that was great. Oh yeah.
And then so Uncle Pietro is sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing really special there, but then we get to see Wanda in her classic outfit, which just looked great.
Yeah. Yes, I thought she looked fantastic. I was like, man, not only did she, pull off the, wearing the suit from the comic books, but I just thought, man, I don't know, she really looked amazing in that costume. I was like, yes. It was fantastic.
Vision didn't look as great. It's kind of silly.
No.
I had like the dangling Mind Stone on his forehead, and it was really funny. Thinking about it, Evan Peters, brings, he's a really good actor and he can do comedy very well, and he brings a lot of comedy to this episode.
Yes, he did. And I wanted to note too that some of the horror parts, I mean, because if you watched him on American Horror Show, so he can also do that horror stuff really well. Yeah, that's why I first saw him from see him get like bigger, as far as like his main character works goes. And man, he just doing the horror stuff and the comic stuff, the mix what he was doing today and this episode was just dead on perfect. I'm like, yes, this is great. This is it was just great fun to see that.
Yeah. So we get this this memory, this first memory, um, that Preacho brings up about them trick or treating, and I forget what he said. His mom caught something, but with the lady handed them a fish so they can share.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did
I
you
remember.
notice who they were like dressed? Did you notice who they were dressed up as? It
Oh
looks
my
like they're
goodness.
dressed up as Black Widow and Nick Fury.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. That's right. You're right because that's right. He had that eye patch on. I
Yeah,
forgot. Yeah,
yeah, and she had
that's
red hair.
right. I was like, what? Honestly, that scene happened so fast that I couldn't quite.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't quite process that, and it was like because she just like she hands them the fish or whatever, and then it was like they had that funny look on their face. So I'm looking at their expression. I'm not really. I was like, oh, like
yeah.
it
No,
just like
yeah.
that scene happened so
My
fast. I was
wife,
like,
my wife had to point that out to me. I was like, really? And I rewound it. I was like, holy, oh my gosh, wow. Okay. Yeah,
you know
that
what? It
was
does
really cool. But like the key thing to it is that like their memories aren't syncing.
right. Yes, and I was gonna note that further on. Actually,
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
what did you think of Evan Peters' portraying of the suit, the costume that they for his comic book of
Oh,
Quicksilver?
that was great.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought
Yeah,
he
you know,
with the hair
it's
and
not
everything.
like a yeah, yeah. It was it's definitely you know silly, kind of like Visions, Halloween costume was, but it's just like a spot on callback to the old, like I guess Silver Age comic book
Yeah,
outfits.
yeah. I just I don't know, but the way he had this hair, I thought was pretty funny and pretty just it just matches like the Halloween kind of like craze like they were going on, and I don't know. It was just like he had this kind of like werewolf kind of hair, kind of like werewolf flashy kind of hair, and I just thought it was just kind of great for Evan Peters uh for him to do that, like to have that. It just made the Halloween part so special for that. I just thought that was great.
No, yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, so another point of interest that I found was so whenever Vision comes down, he he says that this was the only thing in my closet. Wanda's still controlling Vision. Giving him, this is the only thing that you get to wear today. Um, but then whenever he says that he's going out and he's not going trick or treating with them, like there's this like kind of weird exchange with them where she's like, she almost starts telling him like, well, no, you're staying with us. But then she kind of like almost gives in and is like, okay, yeah, you can go do whatever you want. Did you kind of think of anything about that?
Yeah, there was a quick back and forth because when he tells her that, she's like distraughted. She was like in distraught. She's like, "Wait, what? No, you were gonna come trick or treating with us?" And he's like, "Oh, well, no, I gotta do this," because he had to quickly kind of backtrack. So he didn't want to get her upset. So he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go to work and do these night shift kind of things." And so she's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "It'll be fine." And then Pedro comes in. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I'll I'll be the dad for the day. That's fine." Um, so yeah, I kind of caught that she was just like, "Wait, what? I thought we were going together." And then he's like, "No, I can't do that right now."
Yeah, I almost wonder if that's leading to more of, like Vision's autonomy, his separation from um,
Mm-hmm.
Vision that other, I guess, quote unquote characters in her sitcom have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So at this rate, he's already detached from what's going on because every time he knows there's a script that's going on, so he's kind of
Exactly.
he's playing the script, but he's out of it. Like he's like, no, there's something else going on here. So he's got the ability not to um be part of it. Because of, like what you were saying with the autonomy, he knows. I think it's also due to the stone on having the stone on his head that I think it's helping him not to see things much more clearly. That's kind of my guess on that
Right.
as well.
Okay. And
Let's see.
so my first watch along, like um Evan Peters has this tattoo on his left arm, um, mom. And when I first saw it, I thought it was HOM, and I thought it was like a nod to the House of M. But um,
Uh,
I guess this is his actual tattoo, and
Interesting.
it says mom. But like in most shows, like they cover up tattoos a lot. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of actors with different tattoos, and they cover
Mm-hmm.
them up. And I just wonder, possibly a little nod at possibly the multiverse of madness, MOM. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see.
I
Yeah,
got really
maybe
excited
they're
because I thought it was an H.
right. Yeah, it's there's possibly that they're sending a message with that. Yeah, because usually if an actor has tattoos, they CGI it out because they don't want the tattoos to be in the actual episode. So there had to be a case of why that why they left the tattoo in. I mean, it's possibly that they forgot, but I think maybe there's obviously a reason um, why would they would leave it in. So yeah, it could be for that, or it could be maybe um, or maybe like he's because I'm also thinking like Days of Futures Past and all that kind of stuff too, where he was with
Yeah,
his
because
mom
he
a
lived
lot.
with his mom,
So
right? Yep.
yeah, so that's what I was kind of thinking there too. But yeah, it could be also for Doctor Strange's reference uh, as well.
I like that idea too. That the Fox Quicksilver um, lived with his mom and spent a lot of time with her.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So then we move on we move outside of the hex, and Hayward just continues to be shady to me. Like I feel like he's up to something deeper
yeah.
than just just trying to stop the hex from being existent or whatever.
Yes, yes, definitely. He's got an alternative motive here because I mean clearly he wants to stop Wanda at all cost. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I want to bring you in and put you in a or like put you in a cell and figure out why you're doing this or figure out what's going on with that." He's just automatically he's just like, "I'm doing my job. I'm going to have our team destroy her." So yeah, he's there's something going on with him that I'm just like that he's definitely not a sword or a part of shield behavior. So I'm still thinking like with you
Yeah.
at this moment that he's part of the Hydra group, or maybe down the line they're gonna say maybe he's
Maybe a
part of
scroll.
a. Yeah, that's what I was also, yeah, scroll, or just a villain that's gonna maybe possibly also introduce more of the X-Men or Fantastic Four. Maybe they'll have him kind of be the bridge gate kind of a guy, kind of bridge that in as well. Maybe I'm not really 100% sure, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and
for sure yeah, that's what I was
to
gonna say.
connect it
I'm not
with
100%
something
sure.
that happens later on, also, whenever Darcy Lewis is hacking his computer, his information, and she finds out that he has been able to track people inside of the hex, and the main person he's tracking is Vision. Do you think that is just because Vision is easier to track, or because like maybe this ulterior motive focuses around Vision?
Ooh. Well, right now, I mean, it's definitely focusing around Vision on that too, because they actually had Vision's body and they were trying to
Yep.
rebuild him. So it makes sense that they're probably, maybe they put something in him too to track him, or at least code some of his numbers or something to on the computer to track him on there a lot more, so they could see what he's up to. Yeah, I think, yeah, there's definitely something with that. There's definitely, or I can't remember. Did Darcy say too that she was worried that the people, because I think she
There,
said to Randall that she was worried that people might be dead. They didn't say anything, but it was also kind of hinted at something about people not
yeah,
being alive
yeah.
in there.
In that part where they're talking about tracking the people, there's people on the outskirts of town that are just sitting, basically completely still. And
Yep.
we also see that when Vision goes to the outskirts of town.
Yep.
And to stay on that thread, that's we kind of learn that Wanda isn't able to control absolutely everybody in town.
Right.
It's more like
Right.
whoever's in the shot, whoever's in the
Hmm.
shot of the sitcom, that's who she's controlling. And everybody outside of the camera lens is like
Right.
on pause,
Yes.
or even
Yeah. There.
glitching, like yeah.
Yeah.
Which that
Oh
that
yeah.
that scene was creepy. And on your touched on Evan Peters horror credits,
Mhm.
in that show. This show
Uh,
is like slowly like morphing into like a, a horror show, you know?
yes, there was. Yes, there was both. I mean, especially for the Halloween part. I mean, they really went all out for the horror part, but they also there. I mean, there was also a lot of fun little comedy bits that I thought I, they just made a lot of that little extra fun, like like watching like a Simpsons episode, or um I'm trying to think of the or any of your favorite like family Halloween videos, or like like if anybody going out and trick or treating, yeah, we want to throw
Yeah.
like the string the strings around, yeah, or throw the toilet paper on trees, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just that kind of fun, kind of sense of humor and all that stuff that going on. I was really, I really thought that was just a fun part, and I just loved watching Wanda like just going nuts when Pedro and the twins were going back and forth because he's like, "Oh yeah, the pumpkins are getting smashed and everyone's getting stringed up," and she's just watching the whole thing happen as they're doing it. I was just like, "Oh, it was great." I thought that was
Yeah,
really good.
that was a really fun scene there.
Oh, it was great.
So you know, it in that scene, you know, you know, Wanda asked Pietro a question about, you know, growing up in an orphanage, and Pietro doesn't answer it. But then they go on to talk about like why he looks different, and neither one of them knows why he looks different.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that's interesting about that part because one part, right, okay, so right before the right before Pedro was having fun with the kids, he says a line that's based on what Aaron Taylor Johnson played, and that was in the movie called Kick-Ass. Because he's like, I'm gonna do some Kick-Ass, and then she was like, you know,
Oh
saying
yeah,
it again.
yeah.
So that was a little quick nod to
Well,
that part for Aaron.
you know what's crazy though is that Evan Peters was in that movie also. Evan Peters was in Kick Ass also.
Oh, that's right, he was.
He was his
That's
best friend.
right. That's
Yeah, I
right.
definitely had that in my notes. It's that is like a like super meta thing in
Yes.
this episode that is just
Ye-
it's just awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of the metas. And then the other kind of interesting thing is, yes, when they're having that conversation, the first thing she says to him, I don't, because when that they had that flashback scene, he explains that to her and she goes, "Oh, I don't remember that." And he looks at her, he's like, "You don't?" And then it goes about
Yeah,
the accents, and he goes, "Nah, this is my accent.
yep.
Your accent's different." And then she's like, "Oh, I don't know." And then it goes into the most interesting part is he says something about himself being shot up. Now I know that could be the reference to Age of Ultron because Aaron, Aaron Taylor Johnson's role as Quicksilver in Age of Ultron gets shot up. But what's also interesting is I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. If I remember correctly, I think Days of Futures Past or maybe I didn't see the Dark Phoenix one, but I know in one of those movies, I know he gets kind of shot up as well too. If I'm if I'm accurate here on this, that he was getting shot up in one of those movies, and so I was like, and I was thinking to myself, like, which one
Uh,
do you think are they referencing? Are they referencing Age of Ultron, or is he referencing Days of Futures Past, or the other two? I can't remember, but
I I'm not the biggest fan of Apocalypse or the Dark Phoenix. I think I've only seen both of them once, maybe. Um, but I don't think he gets shot up by bullets. I do think he was referencing the MCU Pietro because he says,
okay,
you know, I remember getting shot up, and then immediately I hear you calling my name.
right, yep, he says that, and then he's like, but then he's like, I'm gonna, and then he's like, when he said that, when he said my name, that's when I came running, and so I was like,
Yeah,
is that is because I was wondering if that might have been a reference somewhere with the Fox X-Men movies because we know that
yeah.
the
I can't
Pedro
say
and
that
Age of Ultron.
100%. It's not.
Right, right. So that's kind of where it made me think a little bit more because I was like, oh boy, because I'm like, well, was it Age of Ultron that he's telling her, or is it the Fox X-Men movies? I'm not entirely sure. Um, but then she looks at him again, and that's when she sees the zombie version of him, and it's like, ooh,
Yeah,
So that was kind of, which was a freaky
And
moment
that
because it's like, when that happens like that, it's like, well, then she's really thinking of him from Age of Ultron, even though Evan Peters wasn't in Age of Ultron, but still, like, that was that part of the reference, and it's like,
exactly.
all right, something's going on with that as well.
Yeah, and in that same scene also we get Wanda confirming again that um she doesn't know how all of this started, and she says um she just felt so alone, because she had lost her brother and now she had lost Vision, and she just doesn't know how it all started, and that's all that she remembers before was just having this like basically existential crisis of feeling alone.
Right. That's yep. Um, yeah, yeah. It
So
indicates, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, it just indicates that something
go ahead.
that she's um not remembering or can't remember everything that's going on in her mind right now. She's still trying to piece up what's what has happened to her in the past. Like, she knows what's going on right now, but yeah, the past parts that she's trying to think of it are just blurred, and she's trying to get that back, and you're kind of seeing that even more in this episode the most now.
Yeah, it still makes me think that some somebody or something else was catalyst for the catalyst for the hex. Like, we definitely know that Wanda's controlling it now.
Mm,
Definitely know it after this episode,
yes,
but how it started is still a mystery.
correct. Yep. Yeah, that I don't expect that to happen until maybe in episode 7 or 8, where they'll kind of really start digging into that part. But yeah, they were definitely giving you a little hint today of in this episode of what is really going on with Wanda's ability, or power, I should say, um, being in the hex right now. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, so moving along a little bit, we get the we kind of briefly talked about all of the people that Vision run across that are either glitching or completely frozen in place. But then he encounters Agnes, and Agnes I thought was one of one of the players in why the hex was created, what the purpose of the hex was, and this scene on the outskirts of the hex with Agnes and Vision um, kind of have me questioning whether or not that's so. It almost seems like Agnes is just another one of the characters in Wanda's TV show.
Yes, but a little bit before that, though, I noticed, well, when um when Vision is going through the whole town, or at least that one side of it, and we're seeing. I wanted to note, though, did you notice that the woman that was trying to hang up her sheet on the clothesline, you notice that even though she was glitching or whatever, but there's one thing that the glitch couldn't quite hide was that she had a tear coming down her eye. I thought that was a great,
she had that tear coming down.
Great moment to know that for Vision, like he's like, yeah, there's something going on. And so as he's as he's looking around and trying to talk to people, and they can't respond, and it's all dead and quiet, he starts looking, or actually flies up, and he's like, he does almost kind of like a Superman thing, like Superman Returns or something like that. He's like really listening now, and as he's flying up, and then he hears Agnes, and he goes to Agnes, and she's crying in the car. She's like trying to figure out, like, oh, I'm trying to go over here, and he's talking to her. He's like, but you know where you're going, and she goes, and she gives him a look like, yeah, but I don't remember, or something like that to him right away. And he's like, okay. So then he takes his hand, and he does his reinvert her, and then as she's going back to normal, she's like, yeah, she says so. Now, as far as the dialogue goes, I'm kind of a little blurred with the dialogue at the moment, but like she as far as I know, she tells him that that you haven't taken care of Wanda yet, and that, you know, basically that she's doing everything. And Vision's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, he's trying to calm her down. He's like, what, you know, he's trying to figure out what she's meaning by all this, and she's just like, and then she starts going hysterical. Like, she starts laughing like crazy, and just kind of going nuts at this moment. And Vision's just like, okay, well, I can't. He's trying at the moment to really get her to speak again, but she's out of it. So then he goes back to her normal ways, and then she's like, okay, and drives away. You know, drives around, and he's just like still thinking, like, what is going on at this moment? And
yeah,
as I'm thinking, and I'm thinking to myself too, that yes, again, they're doing that little trickery to say, well, Wanda is the only one that's doing this. Well, I'm like, something, but I'm thinking to myself too, there's something up with Agnes as well. Because, like, how does because she knows, like, there's something up with, like, she knows something's with Wanda, but she's kind of like, I guess, how am I trying to explain it? Like, she's just like,
one thing
I'm trying to think of the
is
word.
that she's like when you think about the comparison of whenever Vision brought out the real his coworker, like, he panicked whenever he was brought to the surface. You know, Agnes didn't really panic.
Right. You know? She was just normal about it. Like, she was just kind of like, oh, well, you haven't done this yet, and stuff like that. So that's what was indicating to me. That's like, she's heavily evolved around Wanda. Like, she's got something. I don't know. We don't know at this time if she's got something against Wanda, or she wants Wanda's power, or to harness it, or something. I don't really know, but it just kind of indicated to me that she wants something from Wanda. Oh, you know, as her alternative motive. Let's see.
What else was I thinking about that? Oh, another thing from that interaction, one of the things Agatha does say is Agatha notices, because Vision is in his regular birthday suit, I guess, whatever. But she notices him as Vision, as an Avenger, and Vision responds, you know, like, yeah, I'm Vision, I want to help you, but who are the Avengers? So he doesn't like have any memory. You know, he has stated this before in the show, but you know, it's just another confirmation that you know, like his past is not with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, just like Wanda's as well. Like they're still trying to piece their past back together. Yeah, at the moment.
I do want to go back. Um, Whenever Wanda, Quicksilver, and the twins are getting ready to go trick or treating. Whenever the
Yes.
twins run off, Pietro calls the twins hell spawn or demon spawn or something,
That's right, he
which is kind of a
does.
reference to the House of M, where the twins are like um, detached parts of Mephisto's soul.
Ah, okay. I was wondering about that because yeah, when he said that, I was like, I I knew something was up. I'm like, because I'm like, there's something demonic about when he's saying that, and I'm like, okay, there's a reference here that I was
You're right. Yeah.
thinking I was going to that to the demon, and I was like, okay, I got you. So all right. I knew it. I caught it, but I wasn't really sure what part of the reference it was going to refer to. But I was thinking it had to be going to the character you mentioned, Mephisto. So yeah, that definitely makes much more sense.
All right. Let's see. What else? Um. Okay. So earlier, Hayward had kicked Monica Rambeau, Darcy Lewis, and Jimmy Woo out of the sword encampment. You know, they had a little scuffle and they broke into Shield's computer systems there, and they're planning on going back in. But Darcy stops Monica. It's like, hey, I got your blood samples from Hayward's computer, and like you're I mean, she basically tells her that her cells are mutating. And I
Yeah,
think this just adds on to the proof from um, the X-rays or the CT scans from last episode that Monica's most likely turning into Photon or or Spectrum or one of those or some type of superhero.
right. Yes. Yep. And another thing too that I thought was kind of cutesy, and it's going back again to the real quick with the twins being in the room with Wanda and with Pedro. He says a kind of a joke about XYZ, and I thought that was a good reference
Oh yeah,
about
yeah,
saying about both the mutants.
yeah. He says he has a XY chromosome also, but take out that Y, he has an X chromosome.
Right. Yep.
Which, yeah, that was a nice little nod. Also, I think.
Absolutely.
Um,
So that was. Hmm.
so
I was going to
in
say
the
that.
files, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that even with that nod, and then the nod that they were saying with Monica, um, yeah, they're definitely saying, okay, now the gene factor is coming down. And with Monica, though,
Yeah,
brings up another interesting thing because I also feel like that also could also introduce the Fantastic Four. What do you call with them going up in space or whatever, and opening up that mutation. So it's going to be interesting because like her mutation is going to be different than from what Pedro and Wanda and the twins will have.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to be getting multiple types of mutants, you know, because we already kind of do. We have like the Inhumans from the Inhumans show and the Agents of Shield show, and then we're going to have Monica Rambeau. We have Captain Marvel.
Right.
They're all different types of quote unquote mutants. I guess I wouldn't say that they're like actual mutants, but I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Definitely. While they're gonna play out the whole with the genes and everything like that, like how they're gonna play that out. That's where I'm just like, okay, this is gonna get good with where they're gonna take that to the next level, to the next step, and I'm just like, yes, all right, here we go.
Because my thing is it like you have to have like a major event, because like in X-Men there's like a lot of mutants. Not all of them are. I think there's actually a grid of mutants. And like because like Jean Grey and Professor X and Magneto are like level 4 mutants. And like they're more powerful, but there's like level 1 mutants where like your power is just like on a lower level.
Right. Yeah, like the I think of the abandoned mutants, and like Toad.
Yep.
or yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So there has to be like this, and so there has to be like this massive event that is almost like worldwide to happen to get all these mutants.
Right.
And that it kind of getting to the end of the episode, Vision is trying to leave the Hex.
Yes.
And he's just getting torn apart.
Yep. And before that though, you notice too, like he goes back to his normal suit. He goes back to his Avenger suit, and then he starts going right through, because he's like, okay, I want to know what's going through the Hex. I want to go to the other side. As he's pulling through the Hex, first, so he's pulling through the Hex, and then the Charles gets his sword team, and he's like, all right, he's coming through, let's get ready here. And so they start getting in their vehicles, and they're going up all the way down there, and so they're lining themselves up, and you see now at this point you're seeing Vision popping out. And as he's popping out, he literally what's kind of neat is that he puts both feet on the ground, and he's not quite weak yet at this moment. He's still strong, like even passing out of the Hex. And then all of a sudden he starts, now that he's hitting the real ground, he's like, oh wait, something's not right. And then he starts going to the ground, and pieces of him start coming off, and he starts deteriorating, and then at the same time, Darcy sees, she's seeing all this stuff, and she's like, "Oh no, this is not good. This is not good." And she's trying to get the soldiers to help him, and obviously Hayward is just like, "Nope, I want him gone. I don't want to deal with the living uh, Vision right now." And so it also makes you wonder, like, well, okay, so he wants the real Vision dead, so obviously he wants to do something he wants to. I'm thinking he must wants to rebuild Vision in a different way. I mean,
Yeah.
I know
Yep.
they want to rebuild him as a super soldier, but I mean, obviously, he doesn't want the real Vision's contact, remembrance, or anything. He wants a
Yeah, he
whole.
doesn't want the doesn't want the, the
Yeah.
autonomy that Vision had.
Right.
He was his own person.
Yep. Yep.
But
And that's like, so. Yeah.
I had thought that, with like Monica Rambeau's outfit that had changed, and she went in with Kevlar. It got turned into a pair of very vibrant bell bottoms from the 70s. And when they came out, they were still the bell bottoms, but they're still made out of Kevlar. I was really thinking that Vision was going to be able to escape, or Vision was going to be able to be Vision on the outside of the hex. And we obviously see in this scene that he probably can't, or at least not yet.
Right. Right. Yeah. 'Cause I felt the same way too, because I thought, oh man, something's up. I thought for sure, maybe, just maybe, he's actually going to surpass the dying part, but obviously not quite. But at the same time, even though he was starting to turn, decay. I mean, um, I noticed that his stone on the head was still like staying with him. It wasn't like, it wasn't coming off. It was almost like it was still keeping his brain alive. In a
Yeah.
like in a manner of speaking, like it was keeping his brain, but the rest of the body could deteriorate. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well too. Like it wasn't gonna, like, because I thought maybe when it was gonna like have him turn to ash like that, I thought maybe like his like the stone would just stay on the ground, and he would just be like gone, or just destroyed or whatever. And I was like, oh boy, that's gonna happen. But
Yeah,
it didn't go
the
there. It didn't go there.
the
Thank
stone would
goodness. But
right.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I thought that was interesting that the stone still kept on his head, and I was like, okay, so that's going to be the key for him to somehow keep his body intact. Is the stone's going to have to like repair him, or re reanimate him to the sense that he can be out on the open of Earth again.
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting point about the Infinity Stones, because I mean, mistake me if I'm wrong, but like the Infinity Stones are like gone, right?
Uh, as far
Because
as far as we know, but we also know that for example, we know, okay, so we know that Vision has his stone back, and then we're gonna know that Loki's got the Tesseract. So that's like two stones so far. So I'll be curious. I'll be curious, I guess, what in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, what kind of stone that they'll be finding, or happen to gain, because obviously I think that's going to be a little bit of a key factor in these shows, is getting the stones back at some capacity.
Right. Okay. So then we get Billy. He gets his, he develops his powers, um, just like his mom. A lot of telepathy, and he hears his dad screaming, and he goes and tells Wanda, and what I actually wrote down was Wanda goes all Dark Phoenix and expands the hex. Because that
Yes.
red glow in her eyes,
Yes.
like she looks pretty
Yeah.
badass right there.
Yeah, she did. But it was cool to see. Um, yeah, I guess. Yeah, either Billy or Tommy at this point. I know I might be butchering up which one which one of the twins it is too now, but I know that yeah, when he starts getting his, and he's talking to his mom about it, and she's like, okay, and then he could just visually just see his dad going to the decay, and then also see the real world as well, which I thought was very interesting, because now that he's going to see, now that he sees the real world, he knows him and his brother now are going to know, like, this world that they're in is definitely fake now, because they've been kind of pondering that themselves,
Ooh.
but now they're going to see that it's going to be the real world as well. The
Yeah,
world
I
that they
didn't think about that impact. Yeah, I didn't.
because
That's good. I didn't think
he's going to,
about that.
yeah, I think he's gonna think of it there, because the kids have also been kind of, you could tell in their faces that they've been um kind of pondering, like, hey, what's going on with mom or dad here? They're acting weird, and something's just not, uh, like, they're starting to notice the stuff's being different, and so now, whether it's Tommy or Billy, he realizes, oh yeah, there's gonna be seeing what's happening to their dad. He's gonna realize that there's something more, and then once Wanda goes full red nuclear here, that's when I think that's gonna be key for when the kids are like, okay, realizing, all right, we're in this different reality at this moment.
Right. Yeah. So this scene, just all in all, was really cool. You got Monica Rambeau and Jimmy Woo driving away, and they see it in the distance, and they're like, "Oh crap, it's expanding." All the sword people are just freaking out. Um, Darcy, whenever she had come up to try to tell him to save Vision, she's in handcuffs. She can't go anywhere. She's freaking out.
Right.
The sword people
Right.
just scramble. Um,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. There's
and
script.
they
Yeah.
they basically all get turned into like a circus.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's the circus, and then well, a couple of things to note. So when the power comes, when she goes full nuclear, um, Vision's body gets rebuilt again, and it goes back into the
Yep.
system. So then he's fine. But then, yeah, then Darcy is obviously scared, and then she goes, "Oh crap!" and then goes into the. So we don't know what happened. What's cool is that we don't know what happened to her, though, because we just see
Yeah,
her
we
go
didn't.
in, and it's like fades from her. Like, you don't know how she's going to transform, or whatever, into the
Yeah.
hex. It's like, oh, and then yeah, then we see the circus, and then we see, yes, then we see Monica driving really, really
Like,
fast with the FBI agent in the car. And also, if you know, like, then every single detail was changing, because like there was the car dealership. It was like new
yep.
vehicles or whatever, and all of a sudden right when the hex hits it, it's all the older cars, and it's a used dealership at this point. And so everything, I mean, everything that goes into the real world just changes like that.
Yeah,
So I thought
the
that,
helicopter changes into a balloon, a hot air balloon.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So there's like all these little details that constantly changes and being part of the script. And yeah, I thought that was very, like, just very, like, just very, very cool. Like how that's looking, like how they can change everything. And then right at the end there, we get I think that's the real bomb shock, is we get a face of a demon of the from the hex. And I was like,
oh
oh,
wait, what?
that's, yeah, you didn't notice that? The right at the end when they're driving away, the hex, or the has a face, almost kind of like a reference to the Mummy movies, and it's kind of like the shape of a demon. And then it's like, and then it goes
I'll
back
have to rewatch
down.
that.
Yeah, and then it goes right, and then you see it, and it's like, I'm like, oh, because then I was thinking for you, like, then I was thinking, okay, then it is definitely Manifesto, or 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 maybe it's another mutant, like again, like the first mutant or Apocalypse or something. But I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure it's probably
yeah,
gonna be Manifesto at this point, because it's got this like that demon look. And then as they're done, as Monica passes it, it goes back down, it fades back down, and it goes back into Wanda. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, now they've confirmed it to me that Wanda is not in control of her body after all. Somebody is controlling her body.
right.
So I thought that's what the ending indicated to me. That was the twist.
Oh, another thing I missed was whenever I did look it up real quick, and it is Billy is Wiccan with powers like his mom, and Tommy is Speed.
Okay, okay. So I was right the first time. Okay, I was
Um,
like,
yeah,
I was getting
um,
myself mixed.
yeah, I know. That's life with twins, I guess. But
The power
so
twins.
so yeah, so Billy, whenever he's telling his mom, that Vision's in trouble, Quicksilver makes this remark, well, he's already died once, he can't die again, or something like that, and Wanda just
Yes, hits him.
knocks him back. Yeah,
Yeah, like, yeah, you're being, yeah, because he's like, yeah, being out there or whatever, and then she just goes full blast on him. It's like, whoa. And then, yeah, then she just goes, and that's when she gets her full power potential. And also at the same time too, when she does go her full potential power, or when the power starts going, um everybody freezes too. It's
yeah.
like her kids, and then plus the,
Was like that was like the first thing she did, and like she like stretches her arms out and like freezes everybody, and then she gets that red glint in her eyes, and then she like
yep,
explodes
the ultimate power beam.
the
Yeah.
red that yeah that was just an awesome scene.
Oh yeah.
I,
Oh,
I'm
for sure.
thinking
Yeah, that was,
I'm thinking that's my favorite scene so far.
yes. Yeah, that was, I mean, that. And then, yeah, again, if you when you get a chance to, um especially when all that stuff's happening with when she's using her power. But then once you see that head, like of the shape of the hexagon turning into a head, and it has that demon look. I mean, then oh boy, that is definitely not Wanda now. And then when it goes back
that's
down
awesome.
into her
I
body,
can't wait to.
yeah, because I'm like that hit me right in the soul. Like, okay, now you just told me that that's the twist. Like that, even though there's still part of her that's her, but somehow Manifesto at this point is controlling her, and that makes a lot more sense of what's been going on. And it's like, oh, what a twist! What a twist of an ending there.
Yeah, and I just trying to pick up on some things that I kind of missed. Monica Rambeau, when they're planning to go back into the hex, she does mention her aerospace engineer again, and that he's coming.
Yes.
So possibly next episode, we're going to find out who that is. And I still think there's a high probability that, we just might see John Krasinski next episode as Reed Richards.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think I'm going to
maybe
die on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, or yeah, whoever. I mean, I guess here's my question: Has it been officially confirmed by Marvel that they hired John and Emily to be
No,
Mr. Stretch?
it hasn't officially been.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So
not
I mean,
officially, but
yeah.
The last time John Krasinski talked about it, he seemed more tight-lipped about talking about it. He gave the typical actor speech, of like, if it was offered to me, I would love to do it. Kind of the same kind of stuff you hear them when they do have the role and they just can't say anything about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, whether if it is John or somebody else, I mean, yeah, there definitely could be, Reed Richards could definitely be in the episode, and they have a little talk with him about, what's going on, and they're going to need his help or something like that. So yeah, that definitely could be another bombshell with having Fantastic Four being part of the X-Men universe, and yeah, that's going to be huge if that happened. Let's see.
And I'm just starting to think that these last 3 episodes are just going to be, I can't remember what, if it was an interview, if it was a live interview, if it was like an article interview, and I can't remember who it was, but they said that like the first like half of the season was kind of like the sitcom-y kind of stuff, and then the last part of the season was just like an all-out action film. And I feel like we're still in the sitcom-ish type part of this series, and these last 3 episodes are just going to be like balls to the wall, all kind of, we're going to be learning like all kinds of different stuff, like what finally, learning exactly what's going on with the hex, possibly finding out what, the director of Sword, Hayward, what his deal is, why he seems so shady. Probably figure out what's the deal with Quicksilver. We're going to be just 3 episodes, and like I'm really hoping that they're 45 minutes, more closer to 45 minutes rather than, the 30-minute episodes that we've been averaging.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely a little bit more, get a little more out of it for sure. Yeah, I mean, for me, this episode and I would say from 4 to 6 has really been more, I almost feel like it really became more of like a Twilight Zone kind of issue now. Like it went from, yes, we're still seeing the the episode, like the episodics of like going through the different time periods and everything, but it really became Twilight Zone for me because it's just like all the different things that they like revealing and everything about that, and I'm like, yeah, how do I explain it? It's like Twilight Zone and Pleasantville kind of mixed for me at this point. And then with it,
Yeah, no, I see what you're
then
saying.
towards all that, yeah, towards all that, then it just, again, the way this episode ended, the bombshell just really kind of comes out more, and it's like, okay, yeah, now I can see it definitely becoming an action flick, or more heavily on the mystery, the science of this, what's been going on. So I'm pumped for episode 7 through 9, definitely. And then I've also heard there was a person I was like talking to, and one of this was telling me that there could be a bonus episode, a 10th episode actually. So like, even though there's 9 episodes, they might actually do one more. Which, if that's true, I'm down with that, because then that definitely gives us more into what's going on, and more into possibly the MCU universe right now. And so I think that's definitely gonna help. If that's, again, if that bonus episode happens.
Yeah, that would be neat. It kind of sounds like maybe kind of like a cool down episode, possibly. We have the apex in the 9th episode, and kind of like a conclusion to the series, but then like a cool down episode, where it's just kind of showing some minor ramifications for the end of the series.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely something like that, or maybe, like, maybe they put in a little bit of a bridge to the other shows that's coming. So maybe they might have a little bridge to the like Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki. Maybe they all kind of have a little cameo or something in there, and then maybe also maybe like Doctor Strange will show up, or I'm trying to think, another, or yeah, more or maybe Thor or Hulk or something. Maybe they'll, or not Hulk, but like Bruce Banner or something like that would show up on there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. If they're the bonus episode, 'cause that definitely would open up the universe at this point for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but these from here on out, I think it's going to be some really good episodes. Thinking about what is Director Hayward going to do now that the majority of his team is inside the Hex.
Right.
What kind of backup is he going to bring back?
Right. I guess, okay. So my other question too is, then at this point, I guess I'm kind of having a little bit of a brain outage on this. So the Hex didn't actually get him, but it just got the team. Like, I can't remember if it actually did. swipe him in.
Yeah, they narrowly escaped, and then you hear them call on the radio. Can anybody hear me? And there was just dead silence. So it looks
Oh,
like,
that's right. Yeah.
possibly, yeah, probably four members of the sword team made it away from the
Okay.
hex before it swallowed them up.
Got it. Okay. That's right. That's right. So okay. Yeah. So that's gonna. Yeah. So his team is in there pretty much, and then again, what also now is still the mystery. Is what's happening to the other characters, and what I mean by that too is like we don't know what happened to the from the first two episodes, the boss guy, the and his wife, when they were going, in the
Yeah.
first episode where they're having dinner, and it's like you notice that he hasn't showed up in any of the newer episodes. Like he's been written off so far.
Yeah,
You know,
I think both of them were, especially, I can't remember what the boss, the husband, Mr. Hart, I can't remember what show he was from, but he was from some sitcoms in the past, and then obviously, her name escapes me, but Kitty from that '70s show.
yep, yep,
She's been in that '70s show. Um, I think they might have just been one-offs, but on that point though, we still don't know what happened to the beekeeper or the
right,
sword agent Franklin.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like all these other characters that are in there, it's like what's happening to what's happened to them? Like like did they get sucked up in another part of the universe, or did they? I mean, I don't really know completely what Mephisto's powers are, so I don't know if he like sent them if he sent them to another dimension, or if they're just
Right.
like in a, or like they're in the
Uh,
attic or something hiding, or like I've silenced you, you're in the attic, you're not there around anymore. So that's to me that's the major question. It's like, yeah, all these other characters,
yeah, and
what has happened to them?
another character is Dottie. Like the queen bee lady, from like episode what, 2 or
Was that was Emma Caulfield's character, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, and I agree with that. I was yeah, yeah, what happened to her character? Yeah, that's yeah, a couple of those girls too. It's like, yeah, okay. So now they're somewhere as well. Uh
Yeah. It
yeah, it,
just there's so many mysteries in this show. And I go back to something I think I said, maybe the first week, probably the second week, but it reminds me of watching Lost. I was in my 20s whenever Lost came out, and we loved that show so much that we used to tape it on VHS when we couldn't watch it live, and we always made sure that we were able to watch um, episodes when they were timely. And is that it's that week to week release that makes it so much fun to speculate about all these mysteries. And it's just really, it brings the fun back to watching these type of series, I think.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah. I mean, my only concern is I hope they gave you some answers to what they did with those characters though. I hope they don't just go um that they just write them completely off, and it's like, what? Wait a minute. So, like it's gonna have us scratching our heads, like, what happened to them? I hope they do give us I hope they kind of reveal it, to them, because I'm like,
maybe that's what the 10th episode could be, is like all these people from inside the hex. The hex is gone, and all these people that were inside and trapped by the hex, are kind of like in Endgame, where um, Captain America was leading the survivors, um, like group, to talk about their guilt and everything, about surviving. Um, Maybe it's something like that, where we see, like all these characters we got to meet inside the WandaVision um, TV bubble. All these characters that we saw throughout the episodes, that we didn't get to catch back up on. We see them around the table talking about um, all the stuff that they went through.
right, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I definitely could see something like that. I mean, I definitely could be, them like finding them, and then they're trying to figure out what happened to them, the trauma that they went through being in the hex. Yeah, that for sure would be, like interesting to see, how that gets all handled, and where that all goes from there, from that point of view. Yeah, for sure. I uh, definitely want to see how they handle that situation. I'm very curious about that. But at the end of the day, I'm at this moment too. Yeah, they got me, everything right now. They just got me thinking about everything right now, like not just the characters to bring back, but just kind of moving forward. Like I'm just like, I'm just like, yes, all right, just bring
Yeah.
in bring in these other characters now.
That's what's so great.
I'm thinking about that too so much right now.
Yeah, it's so great because, like, it's Mandalorian. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
I never, I didn't, I didn't get into speculation of what is actually happening as much on the Mandalorian. They're, kind of straightforward. The Mandalorian is, but there's a lot of mysteries in this show. And it just seems like every time, I finish watching an episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I grab my phone. I gotta like search up every little detail that I thought I caught. Like
right.
especially
Yeah.
details.
Sure.
One thing I didn't really bring up because it's kind of, I couldn't find anything on it. The file that Darcy sends Jimmy Woo, that she finds in Director Hayward's computer. It's labeled cataract, and
Oh,
there's nothing in the MCU or Marvel Comics that there's no agency or anything, or no weapon that's branded cataract. But I don't know. I
mm,
thought that was going to be a clue because I wrote it down with question marks by it. And when I looked it up to do a little bit of research, I was like, there's nothing here.
mm, interesting. So they're
The only,
definitely keeping us wanting to know more about what is going to be in that particular file of, okay. So like basically,
yeah,
there could be a couple characters that they're going to maybe like kind of correspond with as far as like the villains go. Like maybe what Hayward is going for, maybe he's working with maybe he's working with Doctor Doom, or the kind of almost kind of like actually, you know what I'm thinking about, that is like almost like a kind of like a Blofeld thing from the James Bond movies, like where you got this real major main villain, but then at the same time you got all these other different generals in play here. So and I don't really know much about Black Widow right now, but with the Taskmaster being in there, maybe each character is going to
Yeah,
have like a connection to a higher purpose villain. So I'm thinking maybe Doom is going to be uh, the leader to all these bad guys that he's got in place, and he's got this file that's like, yeah, I'm Operation this right now.
that's
So I could see
that's an
something like that
interesting
maybe.
thought. That's an interesting thought because with the way all the last how 20 some movies or something, how they've all been interconnected, when Black Widow was announced, and everybody was kind of like, oh well, it's just a one-off. Like I was kind of like, really? Do you think Marvel or MCU, under Disney, with everything that they've done with the Infinity Saga, do you think that they're really just going to make a one-off movie? You don't think? And my thinking is that in some way, the Black Widow movie will have tie-ins to this next phase of Marvel, and maybe you're onto something there. Maybe Taskmaster has some connection to Doctor Doom. I think that's
Yeah,
a nice thought there.
I mean, you kind of have to think though, like there's got to be something that's going to tie in Doctor Doom as well. I mean, if these rumors are true, like if Doctor Doom is going to be in Black Panther 2, to me, they're almost indicating that there has, and they're saying that he's supposed to be the big bad as of right now. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if Doctor Doom is like the Darth Vader, the Bloomfield, then definitely every villain character has to be almost kind of responding to him in a sense of like that he wants to take over Earth, or whatever he wants to do with her. We don't know. I mean, we don't know nothing at this time, but I mean, it's the idea that kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, all right, so they definitely got all these ulterior motives right now, because they got to have there's always got to be a leader on both sides. You got your Captain America, who's your leader on for the Avengers, or for the good guys, and then on the bad guys right now you gotta have a leader. So Doctor Doom he's your leader, and so it, I'm kind of thinking lately, and I know it's going to go a little bit off, but do you think possibly once they start doing these this next set of movies, next set of series, my one thought process right now is, as of right now, we know that Thanos is dead, but do you think they'll, and as far as, and also Iron Man, but do you think that possibly, maybe somehow Doctor Doom could be gathering like the stones, and maybe somehow Iron Man is not dead, and somehow maybe Thanos is not dead either. Like maybe like he kind of took Thanos or something like that and has him like in like a hiding part, like in like a storage room, kind of like in his basement or something like that. So Like,
Well, that's
I'm
the
just kind
that's
of
the
trying
cool
to think
thing
of like,
about the
um,
multiverse of madness, you know?
yeah,
The multiverse. Whenever you're talking about multiverse, you know, I
yeah,
think, you know, and a lot of the things that, you know, this, you know, WandaVision series has done, it's there's there's nothing off of the table. I don't think. I don't think there's anything off the table. I don't think um seeing Tony Stark again, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is off the table. You know, I don't even
right,
think the crazy theory of seeing like an evil version of Tony Stark played by Tom Cruise is off the table. I don't know if you've heard
right.
that theory, but it's kind of crazy.
No,
Um,
I didn't hear the Tom Cruise part. No, I just
yeah,
all I know is like, um, I just remembered back in the right before the MCU was starting to form, and before they got Robert Downey Jr., I remember they were close of having Tom Cruise possibly signed to be Iron Man.
yeah,
That's all I
yeah,
remember. But if they do put him in the
yeah,
multiverse, I can I mean I could kind of understand that.
yeah. But I mean, that I think that's the really cool thing about, you know, um, about Marvel is that, you know, seeing what they have done, um, I don't think there's any reason to think that they're not going to lay something down just as epic as the Infinity Saga. You know, um,
Right. Yeah. I
20,
mean,
20 intersecting movies, you know, that led up to
right.
a two movie epic finale. They're going to do
Right.
something just as great, and it's going to
Right.
be fun. It's going to be a
Yeah. I
fun
mean,
ride.
yeah. I mean, even though like we think, right now we think that Thanos is dead, and it's possibly that maybe, again, my theory, or like not really necessarily a theory, but like an idea could be like, oh, maybe somehow Doctor Doom got through all these places, and right before Iron Man snaps his fingers or whatever, that nothing got faded away. It was just kind of a new, I guess, a new start or something like that, and like it got alternated again. And it'd be kind of cool to see if like maybe like Thanos is kind of like helping Doom get get like the stones and stuff, and then while that's going on, you know they could also bring in Galactus, who's going to be the big evil, the big evil of destroying the universe kind of material. So it could play with that idea that even though Doom's the bad guy, but there could be uh that Doom, is like being like that, and it's like he also wants to be the good guy kind of a mentality as well. So I kind of like that idea, like just kind of playing around that kind of ideas like that. So I'm like, and then at the end, like you have also that, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna help the Avengers out or something like that. It's a little twist on that. But again, I know I'm just
Yeah,
throwing out ideas on that.
and the cool thing about thinking about Galactus is that, you know, if you did have a reemergence of Thanos, um, you know, Thanos, you know, when you think about his arc, you know, he was trying to do what was right, you know, even though he was going about it a completely horrible way. You know, Thanos
Yeah.
would be against Galactus. You know,
Yep.
so like thinking of that, you
Right.
know, that would be crazy, you know, like seeing Iron Man and Thanos standing up
Yeah.
to Galactus.
Yeah. Like that would be the ultimate. I think that would be the ultimate awesome kind of twist. Like we saw Infinity War of him just like, okay, I want my stones. I'm gonna do what I did before. I just want to get rid of half the population. And then, and obviously in the end game, the twist was they went back in time. They brought over a Thanos that wasn't quite he was a warrior, but he didn't quite do what his mission was, and then they stopped him. But again, there could be another twist now where ideally that since Doctor Doom is the character right now, as far as we know, but he brings in somehow he gets gets Thanos and gets Iron Man, so it's possibly that we get our guys back, but in a different way, and yeah, I'm totally down for some twists and turns with this, because I think it it's definitely going to make this phase of Marvel movies very interesting and much more. I think a little more thinking again, a little bit more um, that how I'm trying to say is like
Yeah,
you're gonna have a
yeah,
lot
because
more thinking
there
process.
was definitely yeah, there was some definitely, like there in the middle, especially when, the first couple of Avengers movies, they were kind of straightforward, there was no, substance to them, I definitely agree with that. Um and so yeah, I definitely agree that, this phase is yeah, it's going to be, you got some weird ones, Eternals, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
which I think is going to be sneaky good, and it's going to
yeah.
be the next Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knows much about the Eternals, and then it's going to blow up.
Interesting.
I hope, at least.
All right. Right. No, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I'm just trying to think. I mean, is like I guess like the internals. Is it kind of like a little bit of like Guardians, or a little more edgier? Like they're a little more like they got a little bit more of a little more of an edge to them than what the Guardians are. Like a little more strong built or strong willed. Like they could be like maybe like the what the New Mutants could have been, or something a little bit more stronger edge, a little more like not like fun, like not like a it's gonna be a little more twisty, a little more like you're seeing that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it's going to be yeah, it's definitely going to be uh not as slapsticky as Guardians of the Galaxy, definitely.
okay,
um
yeah,
because they're like gods, basically. They're kind of
oh,
like ego
gotcha.
from oh, hey Max, thanks for stopping by, and definitely watch it later. Cool, thanks for stopping by. But
Yeah, sure.
yeah, Eternals, very low key comic book characters.
All right, yeah, for sure. I definitely, I almost want to say I kind of get like this oh I at this point I almost get like a very hmm, like stronger kind of Thor, um uh like a little bit of, like not quite Avengers, but but like a Thor is Avenger kind of a movie. And so I think that could be a
Yeah,
very interesting take where where it'd be like you hit like a much higher box office for doing a little bit more of an actiony uh powerful movie. So yeah, I could definitely see it being kind of like a very strong Thor, a little less than Avengers, but definitely have that kind of thing going on for them. That I think that will definitely make the Internals uh, have a really good edge right now. So I think yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be a really good movie, and I think it's going to have a good setup for whatever they could have come next. And yeah, I'm right now. I'm just excited for this Marvel train right now. I think they definitely got us hooked. They definitely got their viewers wanting to know more, and I think that's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
Oh yeah.
Versus, because because my question is to you is that even though I like a lot of the Marvel movies so far, but it did start feeling kind of like, as we're seeing these movies, they're kind of a chore a little bit. Like, okay, it's like, all right, well, this movie's good, this one's okay, but we had to see that movie because that's going to lead into another segment. Whereas now I think they could possibly, from what I'm seeing right now, I feel like they could possibly go to this direction where it's like, well, now we're not going to really make it feel like a chore. Now we're making it feel like that you're going to go see this movie or watch the series and really really kind of enjoy it a lot more. Like you're not feeling like it's a chore anymore. Now you're just really kind of invested. You're very much impacted by it than probably from the other movies.
Oh yeah. 100%. That yeah, because you know, by the time Endgame and even Infinity War came out, there was definitely some how to put it, like some, I guess, Marvel um, burnout, I guess,
Right. For
and
sure. Because
now that that arc that arc is over and we're starting a new one. Um, and I think starting out with WandaVision the way it's been was a really good move, and I think it happened by accident because I think they were actually supposed to start with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but starting out
right.
with this, with how mysterious it has been, and I mean,
Yeah.
you wake up every Friday morning. Last week I stayed up and watched it, but I did not. I was not going to do that again because I was too worn out. But I woke up this morning, and eventually when I checked Twitter, there's like out of the top 20 trending, there's like four different things related to WandaVision that were trending. So this show is creating all kinds of buzz, and people are talking about it, and it's just super fun.
Well, agreed. Yeah, I 100% agree with that because the show is definitely keeping everyone's interest, and it is to me. It's like I'm excited to watch and be invested in this show versus from the from the prior movies. I mean, again, I like the characters a lot, but I just felt like after a while, it just felt like okay. Because the one movie I'll give an example to, and I like the characters and everything, but I thought the movie was okay. Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it felt like because we had to know what happened to Ant-Man, of course, and um, but like as far as his movie went, it was okay. Like there was really
Right.
no villain. There was really no villain in that movie. It was kind of like the one villain that we thought was a villain, but was kind of a great character, and the other the mob boss crime syndicate that they were going after or whatever, they were kind of the bad guys, but not even they weren't really bad guys. So to me, it was just kind of kind of a well, I don't want to say dud, but like kind of just where it was like my interest of that movie
No,
just
yeah.
kind of went down. I mean, again, it was cool to see what happened at the end of the movie because obviously with tying in with Infinity War where they all turn to ash and he's stuck in the in his I forgot the actual name, but like he's stuck in that world in that
The quantum
dimension.
realm.
The quantum, yes, thank you, yes, the quantum, and it's like yes, so like getting to that part, obviously in the movie is a really good part of the movie, and a key central part of the movie, but in the actual movie itself, it was just kind of like I I guess my word is I want to say kind of bland. Like it has its entertainment, but
Yeah,
it
it was.
just they didn't have a main. It didn't have like a main villain or something like that where it didn't really contain anything. And I will say one thing too. They introduce the character Ghost, and they fight and everything. But then what I was kind of bummed about is I thought maybe that character would show up in Endgame, and that character never
Right.
showed up. And it's like,
Yeah, it almost seems like that movie was just non-essential except for that one scene at the end.
right. And it's like, and it's kind of unfortunate because you want all your movies, especially with Marvel right now, that you want all those movies to connect, and you want them all to just like you want all your characters to be in one big movie like that, especially with the Avengers. So you would hope that that character was going to show up at one point in that movie, and that character doesn't, and it's like, well, that just felt like it was wasted, and um, I just felt like they needed to have Ghosts in Endgame to kind of like be kind of a helper, or maybe she was working with the other side, but I would have taken that she would have been helping the Avengers. But yeah, that was my only problem. Is like a couple of these movies that they had out, they didn't really interconnect. I mean, I guess they could, in theory, now, especially with WandaVision going on, like they could incorporate these characters and utilize them in this phase, and that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, down the line, we'll just have to
Yeah.
wait and see. We have to wait and see. So
Yeah, it for me, did did you ever read the comic, the um the Civil War, the books of Civil War?
I have not, but I'm familiar. I've been told like some of the certain things that they did. Like for
Yeah.
example, I know that Hulk was supposed to be in it because he had a key part in the graphic novel. Spider-Man had he had his Spider-Man suit, that armored suit from Iron Man. It was supposed to be in that storyline, not the regular Spider-Man suit that he had. Um, and I think
Right. But another key component of it was it wasn't a fight over the Sokovia Accords or whatever. It was always, Civil War was a fight over, mutant rights, And I almost feel frustrated now that, we're getting ready to get mutants into the MCU, and we've already had a Civil War movie when, the Civil War comic book was, all about, you know, was basically all about mutants, I will
right,
say that is one of my biggest gripes about the first couple phases of the MCU was the Civil War movie. If they could have just held on, they could have still had that storyline, but just don't call it Civil War. Because I feel
true,
like
yeah,
now they have to have, like I guess they could, make a X-Men movie and call it X-Men Civil War, but I don't
true,
know.
yeah. Well, they definitely could. Maybe they could just call it like I don't want to say Avengers Civil War, but maybe like the ultimate, or like maybe they'd have it be the Marvel Civil War or something like that. They could just kind of have it as a big title name, I guess, for them. Like, yeah, this is just a title
Right.
movie, but at the same time, that's their storyline that they could um incorporate with the X-Men and Fantastic Four and have Hulk in it and stuff like that as well if they need to.
Yeah, well, getting back to WandaVision, thinking about what's gonna, what we have coming up. We touched a little bit on, thinking about what's going on with Sword. Um, so an interesting thing that we should be seeing is, at the end of this episode, right before she did her mega hex powers, Wanda, full blasted Quicksilver um, into a couple tombstones. Um, what's going to be the relationship between Wanda and Quicksilver after that?
That's true. Yeah, I don't really. Maybe he's going to be careful around her.
Yeah,
He might be a little bit angry about that. Obviously that she did that. But I think that he'll be careful. Like he doesn't want to upset her, but he's going to probably ask her some more questions as well. And I think I think there could be that's where they're going to kind of say the twist is that he is the Days of the Fox X-Men character that I think he's gonna say Magneto's the dad, and that's it's gonna change her way of thinking, and something's gonna have um to give there because it's like, oh, so I think something that relationship is gonna um change her at least into getting the that she'll it will reveal that she's got the X gene for her now, that she's gonna realize it, that and there's gonna be a lot of something's gonna have to open up a gateway there, and I think that's gonna be it's gonna be like a gateway that's gonna open up for our X-Men characters to finally show up in in a slow matter at least. But I think that's going to be key between Wanda and Pedro. I think that's going to be the like where that direction is going to go, because they have to kind of like kind of mend with each other in a sense. Um, and then vision, and then
yeah, and you actually made me think of something. During this episode, we do get a mention of, Pietro says that whenever, and actually at the time, Pietro is talking about um, how powerful he thinks Wanda is by being able to do all this. And then he says that he thinks mom and dad would have liked it here.
mm-hmm.
And I thought that was
Yep.
interesting because, know, Magneto being a very powerful mutant
Mm-hmm.
would probably be interested in a very powerful daughter.
Well, the, okay, so then for me though, he would be excited about that, but also keep in mind Magneto also kind of fears that too, because he doesn't want um, his his kid to go completely like that. She goes too powerful that could at least annihilate the whole Earth. Like he still wants Earth to be like under his controlment,
Yeah,
and
his control. Yeah,
like if like yeah, I mean I know that he'll love his daughter. I mean that's the point, but there's that little bit of worry that she's too powerful, and then he's going to be like, oh, no, I gotta ground zero you. So I think that
Right.
there's going to be, yeah, if Magneto is definitely going to be the intricate kind of character that's going to just kind of really set the tone of like for Wanda, like where he's intrigued by her powers, but at the same time he's gonna fear the powers that she's got, and he wants to do anything to control her in a sense of not being overly powerful. And so that's going to be the interesting kind of twist with that. Um, but also, I want to say
Right.
um, that their mother, though, um, is she's immortal. She's the human. She doesn't have the gene factors, and so that's going to also be interesting to see how that kind of plays out too. Because Pedro is the only one that knows the mom, and Wanda really doesn't really completely know. I don't think at this point. So, I mean, I know this one, but the other Wanda didn't know either. I don't think so. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with her mom, and then if um and then with Magneto as well. So there's going to be kind of like an interesting, like kind of parent field or kind of a parent thing that's gonna kind of be in play with that as well.
Yeah, and I think I might have interrupted you, but I think you were going to say something on you know what we might see with the interactions between Vision and Wanda going forward.
Oh yeah. So with Vision and Wanda, I think that now that he's back in, he knows that he's like, oh, I was dying when I hit out of the barrier, and he's gonna question that with Wanda, and Wanda's like, well, yeah, I had to do this for you, and I think that's gonna be like, he's gonna like, oh crap, and he's definitely gonna be, he's gonna have a step back away from her for a little bit, but I think that um how do I want to say, like he's still gonna be frightened of her, but he's also gonna be like, all right, I need to figure this out still some more, and that I think he's gonna find out that, I mean, he's gonna probably find out the hard way, obviously, that she's being controlled, and that he's gonna realize, oh, okay, I gotta find this person that's controlling you. But yeah, there's gonna be a little bit,
Right.
there's still gonna be kind of at that level, um, that he knows that um that that she's not right, but I mean that she's just powerful on him right now, and that he's like, okay, I know this, but I think once he does like the move on her, like what he did with Agnes and that guy, I think that's when it'll reveal. But again, it'll be like kind of like a last minute deal, and he's gonna be like, okay, now I know something's up. So there's going to be that kind of relationship between them two, just kind of going back and forth, and then again with the kids, I think the kids are going to be key as well, to figuring out, okay, how are we going to get out of this alternate place. So it's going to be moving forward. Every relationship it's gonna in fact have an impact on how everything is going to play out, and how everything is going to kind of uh, put a damper into Mephisto's plans, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, and I think Vision, the interact the relationship between Wanda and Vision is going to be the most interesting because, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think Vision thinks that realizes that that he can't leave the hex because he tried
Right.
to and he failed. Um,
Yep.
he has Agnes telling him that he's dead. Um,
Mm.
so and talking crazy stuff about Avengers and stuff. Um, so some stuff from the past leaking in. There's going to be some questions about all of that in between them. Um, I I do think that with him knowing that he's not going to be able to leave the hex, I think he might be a little bit more on Wanda's side now. Do you think that might happen, Amy?
I think it will happen, but I don't think it will happen right away. Like I think like it'll probably start off like he's like, "Why are you doing this? Why can't I move out? Like
Question.
why can't I get to the hex?" So he's going to question that with her, and she'll probably give him like why that is, and then he's going to go, "Oh, but you kept that away from me." And then so it's still going to be kind of like a little bit of a fight, and then when I feel like he's going to touch her and then use his mind opening for her, and then she'll
Ooh.
have she'll be like that kind of you know what I mean, like that will kind of move that, and he'll know then that Wanda is not, she's being controlled, and then he'll be like, okay, so then he's going to play kind of I don't want to say like he's going to play kind of dumb, but he's going to like kind of almost be like an agent where now he's going to go investigate where this mind control is going to happen, you know?
Right. Now, I didn't even think about Vision using his like mind opening abilities on Wanda. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would have to kind of happen though, because he's going to want to know the truth, and because she'll kind of deflect a little bit too, and I think that's where he's gonna,
Yeah.
or there could be the moment where he does, and then all of a sudden she stops him, and then he's like, okay, something's still not right here, and then whatever Agnes maybe even shows up and somehow uh does something as well. I still think like she might have a little, her little twist will finally be revealed, and she'll probably do something to Vision, um because Vision's gonna know too much at this. I think he'll know too much, and then uh Agnes will probably be the one that's gonna actually kind of prison him. I don't think it'll be Manifesto, but I think it'll be Agnes. I think that will be the twisting part of kind of holding up on Vision.
Okay.
Uh, at least on that part, and then yeah, and then Pedro's just kind of in that mix where he, I think Pedro will probably also kind of realize something's up, um, and he'll probably see what was going between Vision and Wanda, and I think he's probably gonna be the one that um, finishes off what Vision was going to try and do. So I think he'll be kind of
Right.
the hero
The
part, I guess you
catalyst.
could say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. Looking forward to next episode.
Um, yeah, I mean, at this rate for episode 7, all we could think of is Um, obviously, it's going to be relationships between what Wanda and then whoever Rambo finds, whether it's a Fantastic Four person or maybe um, anyone in the MCU universe. Like it could be Doctor Strange, could be uh, old Captain America, or
It
maybe
could be,
Winter Soldier. Anybody, at this rate.
it could be
Um,
Bruce Banner. It could be
yeah.
Hank McCoy, the Beast.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
he's a pretty
Somehow. Yeah.
smart
Somehow.
guy.
Yeah. Somehow Hank McCoy got in this universe, so then that'll be another part of the mystery how he got in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely could do something like that as well. And then the other question is too,
Yeah.
who Hayward's going to go to, because obviously with his soldiers being trapped in the hex, he's going to have to probably call his boss, and they're going to have to send in somebody, and that's going to be an interesting part too, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
I swear there's something about Hayward that he just feels off to me. There's something going on with that dude.
Right. So I definitely feel like he's gonna call somebody that they get a stronger reinforcement, and then they're gonna go in. I'm assuming they're gonna find a way of getting into the hex without being terraformed. So I think there's gonna be a little something there. I mean, as far as his character's gonna go, because I can't believe that he would just like just all of a sudden like, they're gonna go into the hex, without a plan or anything. So I feel like he's gonna have to do some major character big bomb kind of thing going into his role of going into the getting after Wanda and getting Vision.
Yeah. Well, we're at the 2-hour mark. I think we covered about everything that I can think of. Did you have any last words? Maybe a shout out to your Twitter if if you want to gain any followers or anything.
No, I just I like being on here having discussions. I definitely will say I cannot wait for episode 7 of WandaVision. I hope to come back and have a discussion with you on episode 7. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be back. We're gonna ride this out to the end, and I've actually been contemplating with my channel if I should the way most channels are built, they're pretty hyper focused, and I'm actually contemplating whether or not I should start to hyper focus on Marvel activity. I kind of don't want to do that because that kind of narrows things down, and I like a lot of different things, but
right
I don't know. But I am definitely going to put together a video. I am actually working on the X-Men and MCU trailer.
Oh, nice.
I've kind of been working on that. I've gotten bits and pieces together. Kind of having trouble with the script of where exactly to put a couple things, but I'll get through it and I'll get it out at some point in time. But I'm going to put together a WandaVision's theories video. Probably just 5 theories that I really like. And I want to have that out before episode 7 because I think these next 3 episodes are really going to start wrapping the series up. And I think there's going to be a lot of movement on some of these theories. So I want to get them out there before that movement starts to really, really happen.
That's cool. Yeah, for sure.
And I am going to immediately go rewatch WandaVision. Probably first thing I'm going to do is fast forward it to the end to see if I can see that demon face, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I was like, that was pretty dope. I was like, wow, they really, it was kind of horrifying, but it was also just really cool at the same time. I was like, that's neat.
Because that's awesome. And
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and like you're saying, that's just kind of like a big nod to, some type of other control on WandaVision and her hex, the hex or whatever.
Yeah.
Could be
Oh yeah.
Mephisto. It's going to be fun to
Could be.
see.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, well, Taylor, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It is really a joy to have you on and discuss WandaVision. It's so much fun having someone to bounce ideas off of, and having some things that I didn't even think of or I didn't even catch, and now I got to go rewatch it. But thank you again for joining me. And we'll be here again next Friday around 10:30, 11. Do all that subscribe stuff and hit the like button. And we will see you next week.
All right,
Deuces.
bye everyone.